Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucimus Prime here, so welcome to the next episode of Movie Didn't Need a Sequel, and today guys, I'm going to be covering probably another example of a film which is the first installment of a trilogy of movies. This is another example in my opinion of a film which should have stayed only as one movie alone and they did not need to start a trilogy of this franchise, and I reviewed this whole trilogy early this year, guys, and the movie I'm going to be covering, which in my opinion did not need a sequel, is probably one of my favourite comedy films of all time, directed, of course, by Todd Phillips, and that have to be none other than, of course, 2009's The Hangover. Probably another big example, in my opinion, of a film that did not need sequels. So what do I think of The Hangover, guys? Well, in summary, I really love this comedy movie. I think it's really funny from start to finish, absolutely hilarious, in my opinion. You've got great performances from people like Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms, Zach Galifianakis, and many other great supporting characters as well. Played very well by people like Justin Bartha, who plays Doug, the character who goes missing, of course. And yeah, and also Heather Graham was also good in this as well. So was Jeffrey Tambor and also Ken Jeong. You know, great supporting character, in my opinion. The best one would have to be Leslie Chow. Absolutely hilarious. Probably my favourite role of Ken Jeong. And the story is definitely really amazing about, you know, a group of friends, you know, these three friends who got, shall we say, blackouts after a party, for a bachelor party, which ends up in one of them going missing right before the wedding. Very interesting story, very unique in my opinion, and great acting from all the cast, and with really great chemistry as well, which of course resulted in me actually becoming friends in real life as well during filming. So hilarious scenes, guys, that have made me laugh so much. It's such a funny movie in my opinion. And I really love this movie, guys. I think probably all the thing I didn't really like about it was probably that Stu's girlfriend, Melissa, played by Rachel Harris, in my opinion, is extremely unlikable. You know, I prefer Rachel Harris in Die Wimpy Kid, but her character, Miss Melissa, was very unlikable, in my opinion. Probably my main downfall with the movie, in my opinion. And also, as well, maybe as well, Doug deserved more screen time as well, because he was part of you know, the friends. Maybe he deserved more screen time, but it makes sense for him not to have much due to being one who goes missing. But they could have probably given some clues about where he was by a flashback, maybe something like that, of what he likes a lot in Las Vegas, something like that, maybe. And this movie had a pretty amazing ending as well, in my opinion, guys, which perfectly, you know, wraps up the story, because, you know, they get to the wedding on time and it happens. And also Stu as well dumps Melissa, which is definitely the right thing to do due to how unlikable she is as well. And yeah, I'm very happy they did that, because she was very unlikable. And yeah, and it was definitely a very amazing ending right there. You know, Doug and Tracy get married, and yeah, it's a very happy ending right there. Definitely a good way to close the story. But sadly, of course, this was unfortunately deemed not to be, because after this movie came out, it's unfortunately spawned 2 sequels, and the first sequel we got, of course, was 2011's The Hangover Part 2, and yeah, this was sadly an extremely disappointing letdown of a sequel, guys. It was not even needed, in my opinion. This sequel was completely unnecessary, because I was like, the first movie, you know, this movie had an absolutely amazing ending, which wraps up the story pretty well. The extended version was definitely, you know, a great way to wrap up the story, in my opinion. Absolute as well. The extended version, to me, is the true version of a Hangover, in my opinion. And what's bad about this second installment, guys, it literally solves the same problem as Taken 2, in which it's literally just a rehash of the original movie, but in my opinion, much worse than the original. Because in this movie, it's basically the exact same plot where a member of the gang called the Wolfpack, as her main character is called the Wolfpack, is getting married, and they travel to a location, you know, on holiday to go to a wedding. And it involves Alan, Zach Galifianakis' character, drugging his friends, cause them to forget what happened. And then, yeah. And they wake up along with an animal. One of them loses a part of the body, and one of them goes missing. So, yeah. And they look for a missing person in the roof. And the Wolfpack is tricked by someone into believing they have their missing friend, but it turns out to be a trap. And also, Stu realises missing friend was in a hotel when they woke up all along. And they found a friend to make it to a wedding. And of course, it also ends with watching the missing picture from the last night before the film ends. So, yeah, an absolute rehash right there. Ridiculous. what me also does, guys, is one of the reasons why I think this is much worse than the original, also being a rehash, is that in my opinion, you know, it was way more vulgar than the original, and I didn't really like that because I didn't find any of the vulgar scenes funny. I didn't laugh at them. The reason why this may not be as bad as what came next is because at least there were some funny scenes because, yeah, I mean, Bradley Cooper's character Phil is probably, in my opinion, the best character in the franchise because he wasn't ruined, in my opinion, and he still maintained his funny personality. That's one of my favourite live-action role of Bradley Cooper. And at least the main actors do have good chemistry, and Leslie Chow is still a funny character, I guess, in my opinion. He's a pretty funny character, but it makes no sense how he somehow becomes a supporting character in this movie when he was actually a villain in the first movie. So yeah, it's pretty confusing, and the movie, in my opinion, also really ruined Alan as well. Because in this film, compared to the first movie where he accidentally drugged everyone, he actually did it on purpose this time, which is just absolutely stupid. So they really ruined Alan in this movie. They definitely flanderized him, and I hated that because Alan is probably my favourite role as that guy for that. But I'm only talking about Alan in the original movie, guys, not these awful sequels, because they really ruined him. And due to there not being very much funny things, it got really boring as well, guys, in my opinion. And yeah, like, this is literally just the same movie as the original, just set at a different location, because the first one was set in Las Vegas, while this one is of course set in Thailand. So yeah, it's literally the same plot, just rehashed in a different location, and also, in my opinion, worse. Because it wasn't very funny, it was more vulgar this time for some reason, I don't know why. Like, goodness me. Like, I don't get into detail of why it was vulgar, because it's not very appropriate, it's pretty disgusting in my opinion, and the humour for what it is also, in my opinion, pretty mean-spirited as well as disgusting as well, and I definitely hated that. Like, I mean, one thing I definitely hated was probably the inclusion of animal cruelty. That was just unbearable in my opinion, because I'm one of those people that absolutely can't stand animal cruelty. Like, I mean, you have a monkey in this film, guys, who gets shot. So yeah, I could not stand that. I couldn't believe it. It was just unbearable to watch, in my opinion. And so yeah, this movie was not needed at all, guys. It was an unbearable sequel, very mean-spirited. But surprisingly, guys, it became the highest grossing comedy movie, which was R-rated in its run, somehow. And I don't get that. How did it gross so much money? Because yeah, this movie, in my opinion, wasn't needed. And this unfortunately resulted in another sequel, a third movie, which of course was none other than 2013's The Hangover Part 3. Oh my god, like, honestly, I think I'll probably regard this as probably the worst movie of top list I've seen, guys, because this sequel was probably the absolute worst. Like, if you guys thought Hangover Part 2 was bad, wait till you see Part 3. Because Part 3, in my opinion, is the absolute worst. I mean, I've already ranted about Part 2 and 3 in my ranking video that I did earlier in the year, but yeah, this sequel was just absolutely abominable, in my opinion. It really was. Like, because once again, just like Hangover Part 2, Part 3 was not needed at all, in my opinion. Really was not needed. I think the only good thing about it, like I said in my ranking, was probably, you know, Bradley Cooper's character is still the likeable character. He is the best character, in my opinion. And also, as well, what's good about this movie is that thankfully it does not rehash the original film like the second one did. It doesn't rehash its plot. It has a different plot, which is probably a good thing, I guess. But it's just like Taken 3 because it has a very misleading title, because no one in this film actually has a hangover. And so pretty much, you know, the ending of the movie and, like, you know, the mid-credit scene, which is just, you know, absolutely stupid. So, yeah, very misleading. And this movie also, in my opinion, guys, despite being regarded as an action comedy movie, guys, in my opinion, this film is not a comedy in any form or fashion, to be honest, because it feels more like a dark thriller. Yeah, you could basically say this is a dark thriller movie, because that's what it is, really, because there's barely anything funny in it at all to make it be considered a comedy movie. It's not even funny, in my opinion. It's just absolutely abominable. Like, you could literally watch this completely unaware that it is this unnecessary cash grab sequel as its own thing, as a dark thriller film, really. And you probably wouldn't even know it's a comedy due to how, you know, unfunny it is. And this sequel was, once again, very mean-spirited, and it ruined many characters. For example, it ruined Alan very more by making him very stupid and irresponsible, because it begins with him causing a multi-car freeway pile-up because he purchases a giraffe. And if you guys thought animal cruelty was bad in Part 2, wait to see it in this, because the giraffe gets decapitated. So, like, oh, goodness me. Like, when I saw that, I was horrified. Like, I'm thinking, why do I have to watch this? Like, what is this film? It was horrendous. And if I wasn't watching it so you guys wouldn't have to, I'd have probably turned off in that scene. I'd have probably turned off in that moment. The movie also wasted Jeffrey Tambor as Sid because he's so upset about Alan's irresponsible actions, he dies from a heart attack. So yeah, what an absolute waste of Jeffrey Tambor. That was a big waste of him. I couldn't believe he had to bring him back only for that one scene and to get killed off. What a waste. Goodness me. The movie, in my opinion, also wasted not just Jeffrey Tambor, but also Ken Jeong, because they really ruined Leslie in this movie, guys. They really did. Because compared to the hilarious character he was in the first two films, they made him really unlikable in this. And he also is also responsible for animal cruelty, because the villain of the film, guys, is called Marshall, played by John Goodman, and he's probably one of the very few likable things about a movie, in my opinion, one of the very few good things about a movie. And he has two dogs who guard his house, and when the wolf pack goes in to get some gold from his house, and Leslie Chow betrays them and double crosses them, they've already tranquilized the dogs so they can be asleep during the heist to get the gold, but when he's leaving, he snaps their necks, so like, yeah, I was disgusted by that. I was very upset that he had to do that. Like, he didn't need to kill them at all. There was no need to kill them. So, yeah, I was very angry about that. This sequel was just absolutely abominable, in my opinion, guys. One of the all-time worst, like, comedy films I've ever seen. If you can even consider a comedy, because, like I said, in my opinion, it's not a comedy. It's just a dark thriller. You could literally watch it as a dark thriller, because that's basically what it is, in my opinion. Not a comedy, in my opinion, at all. Definitely not. Because it doesn't feel like it. So, as far as I'm concerned, guys, there's only one Hangover film, in my opinion, just one, and it's this one. This one did not need sequels, because the sequels to it were just absolutely unbearable and very mean-spirited, just horrendous, in my opinion. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, guys, there's only one Hangover film, in my opinion, and that's the first one only. So, when it comes to what I own, guys, I only own the original movie on Blu-ray, the extended version. This, to me, is the true version, not the extended version. And yeah, and there's no way I'm ever going to purchase the sequels. Absolutely not, because they're just not needed at all, and they're just abominable. Probably some of the examples of the worst comedies I've ever seen, because they're just terrible, in my opinion. So, my advice, guys, is just please watch the original only, and please, for your own sake, avoid the sequels. Because I only watch the sequels, just so I could give you guys my opinion on it, and just so I could watch it, so you don't have to if you don't want to watch them. So, yeah. Honestly, like, seriously, if I wasn't, doing this video or doing a ranking video of the films, I do plan to also review the films in the future one day, I'd have probably turned off the sequels pretty early into them because they were so bad. That's what I've done, because they were so bad, in my opinion. Like, this film, I had a really great laugh watching. I had so much fun watching this, but I didn't even have fun watching the sequels. I mean, I didn't even laugh at all watching the third movie because it wasn't funny, in my opinion. Like, what was funny about it? Seriously, what was funny? Exactly. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, guys, The Hangover to me is only one film alone, and that's it for me. And yeah, there's no way I'm ever going to buy the sequels because they don't deserve to be bought, in my opinion, by me. I'm never going to add them to my collection. Hell no. So, yeah. So, guys, this was me doing a video on why, in my opinion, The Hangover did not need sequels. It movie didn't need a sequel. In my opinion, it only worked best as a standalone movie, and it didn't need to be the start of a trilogy. So, the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to comments what you guys think of A Hangover. Do you think it needed a sequel or not? Let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for movies coming in the future. If you'd like to be a member, you can press on your PC or you can go to the description. And I'll see you all later.